they started in the 1970s or the 1980s, and they did that consistently. So let's say they were making a very low wage, and they just said, I'm going to invest 10, 20% of my wage into the market consistently. There's a very good chance that person would have hundreds of thousands of pounds in their portfolio and probably be a millionaire. If they had an average wage, they would be close to being millionaire status if they started doing this, say, in 1982. Or if you had a parent or a grandparent who did that for you. Some of you don't have that, and that's okay. But you're going to do that for your kids. Invest very consistently. As little as 3 pounds a day, maybe 5 pounds a day, whatever it is. But you have to have a consistent investment strategy that will allow you to build wealth over the long term. And it's not a matter of saying, well, I want to buy the stock, and if it goes up, I want to sell it because it's high right now. No, maybe you don't ever have to sell. You know, people ask me, well, when are you going to sell your stocks, Dr. Boyce? I'm like, well, never. I'm going to give them to my daughter, and I'm going to give them to my, to my community. I know we're going to own these. Some of these stocks we're going to own 80 years from now. Why do I have to sell? The only time I'll sell stock is because I want to take that stock money and invest it in something else. So I will sell stock to go buy some real estate, or I will sell something physical, real estate or whatever, in order to go start another business. But once money becomes capital, it should stay capital. Capital is not meant to be spent. Capital is meant to grow into more capital. So you'll never hear me say, oh yeah, I sold 20% of my portfolio so I can go shopping. I'll never do that. Why? Well, because if I put my money in an investment, I might make a return, I might make extra money, I might lose a little bit of money. Let's say I lose 5, 10% or whatever. But if I spend my money, I'm guaranteed to lose 100%. There is no coming back from spending money. Spending money is a horribly bad investment. So what you have to really think about is this, and I want to lay this out, and then I want to lay out more of the topic about children and how to turn your child into a millionaire. It's a very straightforward process. If you ever doubt investing and you're thinking, well, maybe if I invest, I'm not going to make money, or maybe I'm going to lose a little bit of my money, I want you to think about it like this. Imagine if you have an extra 1,000 pounds that just comes into your hands for whatever reason. Let's say you invest that money. Let's say that some of what I said is wrong. I can only tell you about markets and investing based on the past. I can't tell you the future. So let's say that you follow that rule. You diversify, you invest your 1,000 pounds, and it doesn't go up in value. Let's say that in 10 years, your 1,000 pounds turns into 900 pounds, right? 10 years, so you're mad at me. You're thinking, oh, that Boyce Watkins, he's full of crap, and he lied to me and told me that if I invest, I'm going to build wealth, and I lost 100 pounds, and I've only got 900 pounds to show for it. But I want you to ask yourself this question. If you hadn't invested that money, what would you do with it? I mean, maybe you could have saved it, but most people aren't going to save it. They're going to spend it. And if you spend the 1,000 pounds, then in 10 years, what will you have to show for it? Probably nothing. Maybe you'll have some stuff around your house, but you won't have much of anything to show for it. So, to me, even if you invest and you lose a little bit, you take your 1,000 pounds and invest it, and you got 900 pounds to show for it later on. That's better than spending it where you spend the 1,000 pounds and you got nothing to show for it down the road. Most of us don't remember where 80 to 90% of our money has gone over the last 20 years. Can you tell me what you did with 80 to 90% of your money in the year 2006? No, you can't. It's just spend it here, spend it there, spend it there. But I bet you that if I were to add up all the money you've spent over the last 10 to 15 years, it would be a lot of money. It would make you look rich. It would make you feel bad. It would make you feel like you threw away a lot of money. What if I added up all the money? What if I went up to one of the women in here and said, let's add up all the money you've spent getting your hair done every 2 weeks for the last 15 years. I'm not making fun. I know it's dangerous to talk about black women here. I know. I was raised by some strong black women. I know I'm stepping in dangerous territory, so I'm gonna tread carefully. But if I were to add that up, it would be tens of thousands of pounds. It would be a lot of money. What if I were to add up all the money that you spent going out to eat? It would be tens of thousands of pounds. If I add up all the money you spent going to see movies, going to the movies, right? All the money that you spent shopping. What if I add up all the money you paid in rent? Some of us still rent places. I don't know how many you own. Some of you own your homes, some of you still rent. If I were to add up all the money you spent in rent, it would be a lot of money. So the goal a lot of times is when you have income, the question that must be asked is, how do I turn this income into capital? How do I put my money in a place where in a few years I will really have something to show for it? What am I investing in? And it could be like your education. You may be investing in your education. Okay, I spent however, 30,000 pounds going to law school, and now I make an extra 30,000, 20,000 pounds a year because I invested 30,000 pounds to get this degree to go to law school, or whatever it is, right? So investing doesn't just have to be the stock market or real estate or owning a business. You could also be investing in other areas. You could be investing in education. That's a really important investment that people have to make. But at the end of the day, the people that get ahead when it comes to wealth are people who think like investors. All wealth is it's a big pile of stuff that somebody has accumulated over time. That's all it is. Wealth is just an accumulation process. And accumulation processes occur as a result of consistent habits. Like, what if I were to add up all of these steps I've taken in my whole entire life? Physical steps. And I accumulated and calculated that. It will probably be in the millions, maybe billions, right? But I'm not thinking about accumulating steps. I'm just walking, right? But what happens, the accumulation process is a result of my day-to-day habits. But what if you were to accumulate the number of times you have talked to your mother on the phone, the number of times you've kissed your child, or the number of times you've used the bathroom? You know, if I were to do that, the numbers would be extraordinary. Why? Well, because you have an accumulation process that's occurred as a result of your day-to-day consistent habits. Wealth is the same thing. The question is, can you find a way to incorporate investing into your day-to-day habits?